Okay, so today we are talking about volume of prisms and cylinders. So we've done surface area of prisms and cylinders, and now we're going to look at volume. So remember, surface area is everything that you can touch on the outside of the solid, the 3D figure. Volume is what you would fill the figure with, the solid with. So it says the volume of a three-dimensional figure is the number of non-overlapping cube units of a given size that will actually fill the interior. So, like if you had to fill it with cubes, how many cubes would you fill it with? And if they could be in cubic inches, cubic centimeters, cubic miles. So, it says if two three-dimensional figures have the same height and they have the same cross-sectional area at every level, then they have the same volume. So if you look at these two figures right here, the difference between the two is that this is a right prism and this is an oblique prism. Remember I mentioned that it looks like someone knocked it over, but if you look, they have the same cross-section and then the same height, so they're going to have the same volume. A right prism and an oblique prism with the same base and height have the same volume. Okay, so let's talk about those volumes. All right, so the volume of a prism with an area B and a height H is, so if you think about this, it's so much easier to show in person, but like here's the base, right? And if I fill that in, that's the area of the base, okay? So now if I draw another one, fill it in, 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 and I keep going, that's going to give me the volume. You see that? So I would need to take the area of the base, which is what I started with, and then multiply that times the height, because that's how many there are in that figure technically. So the formula is pretty easy. It's volume equals area of the base times height. Now, if you have a rectangular prism, you can use area of the base times height. But if you think about it, area of the base right here, so the area of the base is length times width. So if you have, this is only for a right rectangular prism. It does not work on a triangular prism. It does not work on anything else. You can use the formula volume equals length times width times height, but only if it is a rectangular prism. Volume of a cube, think about it, this was length frozen again. Think about the last one, it was length times width times height, because that was the area of the base. Same idea for this one right here. If I did side times side, which is side squared, times the height, which is side, it's side times side times side, which is volume equals side cubed. So, generically speaking, any prism, the volume is the area of the base times the height. But if it's a rectangular prism, you could use length times width times height. And if it is a a cube, you can use side cubed. Okay, but if you use area of the base times height, you will get the right answer also. We're going to jump right into the volume of a cylinder. So same idea. If I asked you to find this area, we know that's pi r squared. Okay. But then we have another circle right here, and another circle, another circle, another circle, another circle, another circle, another circle. How many circles are there? There's h circles, right? So if you multiply that by the height, that's going to give you the volume of a cylinder, pi r squared times h. Once again, much easier to explain to you in person, but I'm doing my best, right? Okay, so let's get into some problems. I don't know what just happened there. Okay, first one, find the volume of the prism, round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So very important, first thing you're going to do is identify what it is, so you know the shape of the base. So this right here, if you look at it, it's made up of all rectangles, so this is a rectangular prism. The base is a rectangle. Since it's a rectangular prism, I'm going to use my easy peasy formula for a rectangular prism. Volume equals length times width times height. So 13 times 3 times 5. Put that in my calculator, and I get 195 centimeters squared. Okay, so some of these are super easy. Rectangular prisms, volume, super easy. Okay, find the volume of the cylinder, give your answer exact. So volume equals pi r squared times height. Volume equals pi times radius squared times height. So if you look at this picture right here, I gave you the diameter, so the radius has to be half of that. So the radius is 9 inches. Zoomed in too close, froze. So I can fill into my formula, I can fill in that, oh, I went back to old notes there, my bad. I can fill in the 9, and then the height. Height is perpendicular to the base. Notice there's a perpendicular here, so that's your height, which is 14. I want an exact answer, so I'm not going to put pi in my calculator. Instead, I'll put this in my calculator. So 9 squared times 14, and I get 1,134. But remember, I didn't put pi in my calculator, so pi inches. Ooh, I put inches. Inches. And I zoomed out because I know I made a mistake already on the last one. Cubed. So volume is in cubic inches like the definition says. So right here, I already realized I made a mistake. I'm going to go back and fix it. This is volume, so it's cubic centimeters. All right, next one. Find the volume of a cube with edge length 15 inches. So once again, I can use my shortcut formula because I know the volume of a cube. Volume of a cube is side cubed. So volume equals 15 cubed. When you're putting this in your calculator, you're looking for typing in 15, and then you're looking for the caret. That means bring it to a power, and then you're going to put the third power. You could also type 15 times 15 times 15. All right, so you get 3,375 inches cubed, because it's volume, which is cubic inches or cubic centimeters, depending on what it is. All right, next one. Find the volume of the triangular prism. With a height of 9 yards, he bases a triangle with legs 7 yards and 5 yards long, round to the nearest tenth if necessary. Okay, so first off, I need my formula. Volume equals, now remember, this is a prism that is triangular. It's not rectangular, it's not a cube, so I'm using area of the base times height. All right, so I need area of the base and I need height. So first off, did they give me the area of the base? No, but they did tell me that it is a triangle. They also told me that it's a right triangle. So I'm going to draw that off to the side because I know that I have to find the area of that. So there's my right triangle. Now it says the right triangle, it has legs that are 7 and 5. So 7 yards, 5 yards. Okay. So remember, I need area of the base. So I'm going to find the area of this triangle. Area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So 1/2, and I need the base and the height of the triangle. Remember, base and height are always perpendicular, and these two are perpendicular. So 5 and 7. So that is 17.5 yards squared. Remember, it's area, so yards squared. So that is 17.5. All right, and if you think about it, I'm going to put yards squared in here. You don't need to, but I want you to see why it's yards cubed for it to make sense. All right, the height of the prism, did they give that to me? So let me reread here. Find the volume of a triangular prism with a height of 9 yards. So they did tell me it was 9 yards. Once again, you don't need this or this, but it's going to make sense why it's yards cubed now. Volume equals, I'm going to put this in my calculator, 17.5 times 9, 157.5, and then yards squared times yards is yards cubed. So I don't usually write this in there because I just know volume's yard cubed, but I want you to know where it comes from. Okay, next one. It says, Mr. Dellin, my husband, is filling the inflatable pool in the Dellin's backyard. He places a hose in the pool and turns it on. A standard hose flows rates says that water is coming out at a rate of 0.7 feet cubed per minute. He will shut off the hose when the water is 3 feet deep. How long will that take? All right, so first thing we have to do is find the volume of the pool, right? So I need to know, what is this? It's a cylinder. So I'm going to write down the formula for volume of a cylinder. Pi r squared times height. So volume equals pi times my radius. So the diameter of the pool is 10 feet, so the radius has to be 5 squared times the height. Now it says that he's going to fill it up to 3 feet deep, so we're going to put a 3 for the height. So the pool might be taller, but remember, we want to know how much water's going in there anyways. So volume equals, I'm going to get an exact answer by putting this in my calculator. That's 75, and then put pi on your answer, feet cubed. Okay, so that's the volume of the pool, of how much water I put in there, okay? But that's not the question. It says, how long will it take to fill the pool, okay? So now what you have to realize is that you're filling up the pool, and it's 75 pi feet cubed, right? That's the volume. Now it tells you that it fills at 0.7 feet cubed per minute. So I'm going to see how many 0.7s go in there by dividing it by 0.7. Okay? So in other words, I'm going to hit my calculator, 75 pi divided by 0.7. So this is going to tell me how long it's going to take. Okay? So I end up getting 336.6 minutes. Now it says round to the nearest tenth, so that's why I put 0.6 there. Also, if you're like, I did it in hours, if you divided that by 60, you could say 5.6 hours, but it didn't say it in minutes or in hours. Okay, but some people might say like, oh, I'm going to change that to hours. Fine, do it. Okay, next one, find the volume of the right regular hexagonal prism, round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So first off, I need the formula for volume of a prism, right? Volume of a prism, it's not rectangular, it's not a cube, so I have to use volume equals area of the base times height. I need area of the base, which I did not give you. I need height, which I did give you, 12. Right? See that? All right, so now I have to come over here and find area of the base. So I'm going to draw the base separately. I'm going to count the sides here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Didn't need to do that because I just remembered that it told me it's a hexagon. Okay, and my iPad froze to say, don't do that, girl. What are you thinking? Okay. Isn't it fun when my iPad freezes? It's just so awkward. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The sides are all 12, so, oops, no, they're not. They are all 9, right? It says right here, their sides are all 9 feet, so I'll put that right there so it's not in my way. All right, area of the base. Okay, so this, remember, is a regular hexagonal. That's prism, so that's a hexagon, and it's regular. So 1/2 apothem times perimeter. 1/2, did I give you the apothem? Nope. Did I give you the perimeter? I didn't give it to you, but you can figure it out, right? So let's do perimeter about this really quickly. Sides are 9 and there's 6 of them, so the perimeter is 54 feet. Okay, so that wasn't so bad. But now I need to find the apothem, right? Okay, so I'm going to draw in the apothem. A. This piece right here is half of the side length, so half of 9 is 4.5. Make this into a right triangle. Find this angle right here. Remember, 360 divided by the number of sides divided by 2, 30 degrees. All right, now I'm going to use SOHCAHTOA to find A. This is opposite, this is adjacent, so I'm using tangent. Tangent of 30 is equal to opposite, which is 4.5, over adjacent, which is A. Cross multiply, A times tangent of 30 is equal to 45. Divide by tangent of 30. Now that I'm thinking of it, that says 4.5, just so everyone knows. Some people on their formative were changing this into a decimal and then getting another decimal and then getting another decimal. And what you're doing is you're rounding too soon, and then your next answer is going to be rounded again, so it's a little bit off. So I would leave this as this and put it in your calculator. Okay? So now I'm going to put 0.5 times 54. I like to get that out of the way. Parentheses, 45 divided by tangent of 30, enter. Now, before you write this down, is this your final answer? No. So still you don't want to put one decimal place down. So if you want to put a decimal down here, that's fine, but put down 4. All right, so when you put that in your calculator, you get 210.4442. And if you have 4441, it's not going to throw it off. All right, so now I'm going to fill that in here because that's B. 210.4442. And now I'm going to get my final answer. My final answer says round to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to put this in my calculator and I'll round that answer to the nearest tenth. You get 2525.3, and then my unit was feet. This is volume, so cubed. Okay. So our last 2 problems here are composite solids. So we've done composite figures, just the area of them. We did a whole section on that. But this is composite prisms, or not composite prisms, composite solids. Volume is easy because it's usually just 2 solids that are connected to each other or a solid with another solid removed. So I like to make a plan right away. Plan. I'm going to say, it says find how much space is in the dollhouse. So this is volume. All right, so I'm going to say what I see. Okay, so the bottom part right there, I don't want to call it a cube, right? Because it's 8 by 4 by 5. It's not 8 by 8 by 8. So that is a rectangular prism. And to that I need to add the top part, which I need to know what this is. So there's a triangle base connected by rectangles. So this is a triangular prism. So I'm going to find the volume of each of those and then add it up. All right, so let's start with the easy peasy one. Let's start with the rectangular prism, okay? So rectangular prism, we have a nice easy formula for that we can use. Length times width times height. So I have 8 times 4 times 5. Oops, I accidentally put an extra times there. And that is 160 centimeters cubed. That's done. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to find the volume of the triangular prism. Area of the base times height. Now here's where people are going to make mistakes. They'll say this is the base. This is a triangular prism. The base is a triangle. It's just not sitting on its base. So I'm going to draw the base off to the side. Here's my triangle. I'm drawing this triangle right here. I'm going to write down things that I know about this triangle. I know this is 8. I know this is 8. I know this is 8. It's right here, right? That's 8, so this is 8. This is 8, so this is 8. Okay, so I need to find the area of that triangle and multiply by the height of the prism. So height of the prism, I can get now. That's how tall is this right here. So if you look right here, that's 4. Okay, now let's jump back to getting the area of this triangle. So area is equal to 1/2 base times height. Area is equal to 1/2 the base times the height. The base, 8. The height, not 8, impossible to be 8. Some of you on your formative were putting 8 as a height there for your chapter 10. You have to draw the height in so that it's perpendicular. I know this right here is 8. How much is this? 4. And I'm looking for the height, Pythagorean theorem. X squared plus 4 squared equals 8 squared. X squared plus 16 equals 64. X squared equals 48. Square root, don't have to do plus or minus. And I'm going to leave it as square root of 48. I'm not going to put a decimal there because I'm getting a decimal too soon if I do that. I'm going to go ahead and put this in my calculator to see what I get. I get a decimal. Is it my final answer? No, not even close. So I am going to write down 4 decimal places. 27.7128. Put that here. 27.7128. All right, now I can put this in my calculator to see what the volume of my prism is. Punch it in. Is that my final answer? No, because I still have to do my plan. So I'm still going to write down 4 decimal places. 110.8513 centimeters cubed. All right, now I'm going to follow through on my plan. I'm going to add the volume of my prism, my rectangular prism, plus the volume of my triangular prism. Add those two, put that in my calculator. Is this my final answer? Yes. So this you want to round to the nearest tenth. 270.9 centimeters cubed. Okay. All right, last one here. Find the volume of the prism with a cylinder drilled out of it. So this is a prism with a cylinder that's missing from the center. So it kind of tells you exactly what you're doing here. So it says volume, and you're going to, for your plan, so this is my volume plan, I'm going to take the rectangular prism, and I'm going to remove the cylinder. All right, so let's start with the rectangular prism. Since it's a rectangular prism, I can use length times width times height. All right, so length, width, height. 10 times 15 times 10. And notice it doesn't matter what order you put them in, right? So I have these two switched right now. It's not a big deal, all right, because it's going to give me the same answer. All right, so that is 1,500 centimeters cubed. All right, now I'm going to find the volume of the cylinder. Volume of a cylinder, pi r squared times height. Volume equals pi times radius squared times height. All right, so I need the radius. It tells me the diameter is 6 right here. So the radius is 3. And then I need the height of this. So it's the same height as this prism right here, the same length right here as this prism, so 15. So volume equals, I'm going to get an exact answer for this. 3 squared times 15. That is 135. I didn't put pi in my calculator yet. Centimeters cubed. All right, now I'm ready to get my final answer. Okay, so my plan is to do 1,500 minus 135 pi. Now, this is where people make mistakes. So first off, can I get an exact answer? No, because this is, well, I shouldn't say no like that, but this isn't pi, so I can't get an exact answer further from here. This is as close to exact as I can get. But it's not asking me for exact. It says round to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to put the whole thing in my calculator. 1,500 minus 135 pi. Hit enter. This is my final answer, so I'm going to round this to the nearest tenth. 1,075.9 centimeters cubed. Okay, that's it today for volume of prisms and cylinders. I am going to quickly move over to, the wrong thing apparently. I'm going to quickly move over to our formulas so I can fill those in really quickly. Haven't done spheres yet. I'll do that absolutely last after we go over cones and pyramids. All right, so volume of a prism is area of the base times height. I would write right here more specifically, rectangular prism. I could use length times width times height if I'd like. And a cube, I can use side cubed if I like. Cylinder, pi r squared times h. Okay? You can go ahead and fill in, oh no, we already did fill that in. It's up here. So all those, what those mean, right? So next lesson will be cones and pyramids, and then I'll throw in volume and surface area of a sphere so you have seen them.